When the text is not understandable, I feel very sad. The spoken voice is very important for me, even independently of singing. When I meet someone, when I find really fascinating is to hear them speak. I listen very carefully and try to understand how the voice functions. At the same time, the person's spoken voice says a lot about his personality. If the voice is too loud or too soft, veiled, pushed, overweight, too high or too low. My experience has shown me the way a person speaks has a great influence on the way that same person sings. Speaking and singing are of course not at all the same thing, but if one speaks while pressing on the larynx, the articulation is more difficult in both the spoken and singing voice. The text is situated on the tongue and lip level. That is the level of the articulation. When you sing, the larynx must neither lift up nor be pushed down. You should have the sensation that resonance is due entirely to the breath flow. The breath flows over the voice, rises to the resonators. It's all to do with finding breath flow. The text is the reason why the singer wants to sing. They want to express themselves and tell stories using their voice. For that reason, the diction and the flexibility of the tongue must remain as natural as possible while singing. An optimal interreaction between consonants, vowels, and a free tongue permits a horizontal relaxation at the back of the head. If the back of the neck is tensed and closed, the vocal cords can no longer function. Of course, in the higher register, the position of the tongue changes slightly. It's a little bit higher. The larynx should be able to remain relaxed in a low position. In this case, the result is that both articulation and voice function well when singing. One must work with singers on an implosive form of articulation. That means with consonants that are aspirated. If you don't work on the quality of resistance on your tongue, the text remains incomprehensible for the audience. When the consonants implode, the vowels are created behind them inside. The text is, so to speak, sucked in, inhalare la voce. Everything stays in us, nothing goes out. Of course, the singer must learn to articulate clearly and precisely so that when singing in a higher range, the place where they articulate doesn't rise to a resonance position. The articulation always stays where it is spoken. The resonators get closer to the articulation in the lower register or move away from it in the higher vocal range in a vertical direction. The resonators can move around, but the articulation remains the articulation. So, articulation allows contact with the phonation and at the same time is a way to a free and relaxed larynx.